When times are tough, people turn towards the political leadership. Citizens want their leaders to show direction, offer clarity, and deal with the uncertainties. Citizens want their governments to cushion the blow. British citizens have the same expectations from their government. There is a new Prime Minister at the helm, and so far, it seems like she has failed to come through. Britain's economic pressures are mounting. We already told you how the pound is doing. A recession in the UK looks inevitable. The British economy has stagnated. The UK has now fallen behind India. Inflation has soared to around 10%, the highest level since the 1980s. There is an impending energy crisis. Basically, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Liz Truss was supposed to save the day. Last week, her government finally revealed the long-awaited mini-budget. What is that? Basically, an emergency package of economic measures that should stabilize the economy. The UK's new Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, called it the biggest package in generations, quote-unquote. His main weapon to deal with the slowdown are tax cuts.
High tax rates damage Britain's competitiveness. They reduce the incentive to work, to invest and to start a business. There are too many barriers for enterprise. We need a new approach to break them down, and that means reforming the supply side of our economy.
What barriers is he talking about? Let's tell you about the big moves, the takeaways from the mini-budget. The super rich tax has been completely abolished. Those earning above £150,000 will not have to pay an income tax of 45%. The basic rate of income tax is being cut by just 1%. From 20%, it will be reduced to 19% next year. The cap on bonuses for bankers has been lifted. Duties paid on houses have been slashed. There was a plan to increase taxes on businesses. That has also been scrapped. Energy prices have been capped for the next 6 months. No household will be paying more than £2,500 on energy bills for the next 1 year. That is around $2,800. How would you define this budget? I know what you're thinking. The tax cuts, the banker bonuses, the cuts on stamp duties. Will this not benefit the rich more than the poor? In times like these, when there is a cost of living crisis, shouldn't a government be more focused on relief measures? Well, Liz Truss has made her priorities clear. Her focus is on boosting government coffers. She wants Britons to swallow the bitter pill for now, even if her popularity takes a hit.
You're prepared to be unpopular, aren't you?
Yes, I am. What is important to me is that we grow the British economy, because that is what will ultimately deliver higher wages, more investment in towns and cities across the country. That is what will ultimately deliver more money into people's pockets.
Well, the backlash has begun. There is fierce criticism against the Truss government. Consider some of the headlines from today's newspapers in the UK. The Financial Times. Kwarteng pledges more tax cuts as Tory fears for sterling mount. The Metro went with a simple headline, tax wars. They are referring to the battle between the government and the opposition over the 45% tax rate for the super rich. The Guardian talked about this as well. They featured Keir Starmer's statement on the front page. The British leader of opposition has promised to bring back the 45% tax. The Daily Mirror. Tax cuts for the rich are immoral. And finally, The Times. Pay pain for workers as public sector squeezed. They are referring to the public backlash. Major protests could break out. Two out of three rail unions of the UK have made their plans public. They want to stage a walkout next week. It will happen just before a major Conservative Party conference. Thousands of workers are planning to leave their duties, and that could cause a shutdown of the UK's rail system. What are they complaining about? Poor wages. There is a fear that these protests could get bigger. British citizens are unhappy with the plans proposed by Liz Truss.
No way, nowhere near. They need to do a lot more, but who knows what they're going to do, to be honest, because the situation looks like it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Awful, obviously. I mean, the people that are poor right now, that are on lower incomes, they're struggling with their heating and all their bills. Everything's gone up. Why on earth would they be cutting it for the people in a higher income bracket? It's ridiculous. London's getting worse. England's getting worse, to be honest. So yeah, it's a stupid move, a dumb move, obviously.
Investors are also not confident about the British government's plans. The pound has collapsed to its lowest level since 1971, a 51-year low against the US dollar. There is a mass sell-off of British government bonds. Experts say the British government would need to borrow more. The package of tax cuts is worth $48 billion. That is the money that the British government will lose from its revenue. So to fill the gap, London may need to borrow some cash. The new British Chancellor is now under scrutiny, and today he faced some tough questions from a journalist. Here is how he chose to respond.
Chancellor, what are you going to do about the turmoil on the markets this morning, sir?
I'm not going to make any comment now. Thank you.
Well, what about the city? What conversation are you having with the Bank of England, sir? Do you have anything to say about what's going on, sir? Are you planning to reverse the announcement you made last Friday, sir? What do you have to say about everything that's been going on, sir?
Just going to my office now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So the intent is to brazen it out. Liz Truss is adamant to remain on this path. Her resolve will certainly be tested in the coming days. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.